Massachusetts is often seen as a truly haunted state because its past is filled with old tragedies, mysterious legends, and places where strange things keep happening. Many towns have buildings that are hundreds of years old, and people believe the spirits of those who once lived there still wander around. Visitors often talk about seeing shadows, hearing footsteps, or feeling sudden chills for no clear reason. The history here is long, dark, and unforgettable, especially with the Salem witch trials still casting a chilling shadow. This mix of history and mystery makes Massachusetts feel deeply connected to the paranormal. Let's talk about the most haunted places in Massachusetts. Number 1. The Hawthorne Hotel in Salem is known as one of the most haunted places in Massachusetts, and many people who stay there say the atmosphere feels heavy from the moment they walk in. The hotel stands close to locations tied to the Salem witch trials, and people believe the restless energy from the past still lingers in its rooms and hallways. Guests often talk about hearing footsteps in the night when no one is there, or feeling the air turn suddenly cold as if an unseen presence has entered the room. Some say they hear soft whispers near their ears, even though the room is empty. These strange moments have frightened visitors for decades, and many come back only to experience the haunting again. One of the most famous stories comes from room 325, where guests report seeing shadows pass across the walls or feeling someone sit on the edge of their bed. Some wake up to the sense that someone is watching them, even though the room is completely quiet and dark. Lights flicker, doors open by themselves, and objects move slightly on tables without anyone touching them. Many guests leave this room early because the unease becomes too much to handle. The hotel staff knows the legends well and often hears news stories from visitors who swear they experienced something supernatural. Another chilling part of the hotel is room 612, where a woman's ghost is said to wander late at night. People staying there describe the feeling of being watched, followed, or gently touched by invisible hands. Some even claim to have seen a female figure standing near the window or reflected in the mirror, disappearing the moment they turn around. The presence is not believed to be harmful, but the sudden appearance of a spirit leaves guests frightened and unable to sleep. The elevator is also known for strange behavior, stopping on random floors or opening its doors when no one is inside. Some believe the hauntings come from the land beneath the hotel, which once belonged to families involved in Salem's dark history. Others think the spirits of past guests never left, still walking the halls in silence. No matter the cause, the Hawthorne Hotel remains a place where the past feels alive, and every floor carries its own unsettling story. Visitors arrive expecting a peaceful stay, but often leave with chilling memories they never expected to find. The hotel continues to attract ghost hunters, curious travelers, and anyone who dares to face the eerie mysteries that make it one of the most haunted places in Massachusetts. Number 2. Howard Street Cemetery in Salem is known as one of the darkest and most haunted places in Massachusetts, and many people believe its eerie energy is tied to the tragic events of the Salem witch trials. This cemetery is closely connected to the torture and death of Giles Corey, a local farmer who was accused of witchcraft in 1692. Instead of giving a confession, he stayed silent, and because of this, he was pressed to death with heavy stones on the very ground near the cemetery. People say his final words were a curse, and many think that curse still hangs over the area today. The moment you step inside the cemetery, the air feels colder and heavier, as if the past is still alive beneath the soil. Many visitors talk about seeing a shadowy figure walking between the old graves late at night. Some describe him as an older man with a heavy coat, slowly moving as if burdened by something unseen. When people try to get closer, the figure disappears into thin air. Locals believe this figure is the ghost of Giles Corey, wandering the cemetery where his suffering began. His presence is often felt during storms or on quiet nights, and some people say they smell the scent of damp earth just before he appears. Others claim to hear a low, painful groan echoing through the graveyard, as if someone is still being crushed under invisible weight. Another chilling story comes from the old path near the cemetery wall, where people report seeing strange lights flickering over the ground. These lights move in slow circles, almost like someone is searching for something they lost long ago. Some think they are spirit lanterns, while others believe they are connected to the souls of those who died during the witch trials. Visitors also talk about sudden temperature drops, even in warm weather, and a strange feeling of being watched from behind the gravestones. Many leave quickly because the silence becomes too unsettling, broken only by the sound of leaves moving when there is no wind. There are reports of phones shutting down, cameras refusing to work, and unexplained shadows appearing in pictures taken near the oldest graves. People say the spirits here dislike being disturbed, and they show their anger through these strange disturbances. Some residents believe that every time Giles Corey's ghost is seen, something bad happens in Salem soon after, keeping the cemetery's terrifying legend alive. Howard Street Cemetery remains a place where history and haunting blend together, creating an atmosphere so intense that visitors often walk away shaken, unsure of what they just experienced. Number 3. The House of the Seven Gables in Salem is one of the most haunted places in Massachusetts, and visitors often say the building feels alive with memories of people who lived and died there. The house is more than 300 years old, and every room seems to hold a story that refuses to fade. When you walk through the narrow hallways, you can feel cold spots, hear faint footsteps, and catch the sound of soft whispers even when no one is nearby. Many people believe the spirits from the homes long past still move around, watching visitors from dark corners or appearing briefly before vanishing again. The house carries a thick, unsettling quiet that makes people feel as if someone invisible is always standing just behind them. One of the most frightening tales comes from the secret staircase hidden in the walls. Visitors climbing it sometimes hear the sound of a child laughing or running up the steps, even when they are alone. Some say they hear tiny footsteps following them, but nothing is ever there when they turn around. Staff members claim they have seen the ghost of a young boy playing in the attic room, especially during the early morning hours. His figure appears near the small window, staring outside, then fades slowly as if melting into the air. People believe he may be the spirit of a child who once lived in the house and never left. Another famous ghost is a woman dressed in old-fashioned clothing seen wandering the hallways. Guests describe her as pale, silent, and graceful, moving as if she is floating rather than walking. She appears most often in the oldest rooms, especially near the fireplace, and disappears whenever someone gets close. Some visitors wake up from guided tours feeling a sudden chill on their shoulders, as though the woman gently touched them before slipping away. There are also reports of doors opening on their own and chairs creaking as if someone unseen has just sat down. The garden outside the house is also known for strange activity. People see shadows passing quickly between the trees, hear soft breathing beside them, and feel a cold breeze even when the air is still. Some claim they have smelled the strong scent of old perfume drifting through the air late at night, followed by a whisper calling their name. Whether these spirits are former residents or restless souls tied to the land, no one knows for sure. What is certain is that the House of the Seven Gables remains a place where the past refuses to stay silent, making it one of the most haunted and chilling locations in Massachusetts. Number 4. The Orpheum Theater in New Bedford is one of the most haunted places in Massachusetts, and anyone who steps inside can feel the heavy energy that hangs in the air. The building opened in 1912 and once echoed with music, laughter, and the voices of crowds. Now it stands dark and mostly silent, with peeling paint, broken seats, and long empty hallways where shadows seem to move on their own. Many people who explore the abandoned theater say it feels as if the past never left. The temperature drops suddenly in certain corners, and strange echoes bounce from the stage even when no sound has been made. Visitors often say their footsteps seem to follow them, almost like someone unseen is walking just behind them. One of the most frightening stories comes from the old balcony area. Explorers claim they have seen a man in a suit sitting in the back row, staring down at the stage. When they look again, he is gone, leaving the seat slightly rocking as if someone just stood up. Some believe he was once a performer or a loyal theater goer who loved the place so much that his spirit stayed behind. Others have reported hearing soft applause coming from the darkness, even though the entire building is empty. The sound is light, rhythmic, and incredibly unsettling. Another terrifying account comes from the backstage rooms, where actors once prepared for their performances. People who enter these rooms report seeing the reflection of figures in dusty mirrors. These figures appear for a moment, standing behind the person looking in, before fading into nothing. Some explorers say they heard whispers calling their names or felt cold fingertips touch their arms when no one else was around. The dressing rooms have a strange smell at times, like old makeup and perfume drifting through the air, as if the spirits of past performers are still getting ready for a show that will never happen. The stage itself is another hotspot of paranormal activity. People claim they have seen a shadowy figure walking across the wooden floor, disappearing before reaching the other side. Sometimes the old curtains move gently even when the air is still. There have been reports of loud bangs coming from above the stage, as though someone is stomping around in the rafters, yet no one is ever found there. Some visitors leave quickly because the feeling of being watched becomes too overwhelming. The Orpheum Theater remains a place frozen between life and death, filled with voices, shadows, and memories that refuse to fade. Its spirits seem determined to keep the stage alive, making it one of the most chilling and haunted locations in Massachusetts. Number 5. Boston Common is one of the oldest public parks in the United States, and many people say it is also one of the most haunted places in Massachusetts. The moment you step onto its wide paths and open fields, you can feel a strange mix of peace and sadness hanging in the air. This land has witnessed centuries of history, including battles, executions, and countless personal stories that left deep marks on the ground. Some visitors feel sudden chills, even on warm days, while others sense the presence of someone walking beside them when the path is empty. Strange shadows move between the trees at night, and soft whispers drift across the grass with no clear source. One of the most chilling stories comes from the old central burying ground located inside the park. Many people buried there were poor residents, unknown travelers, and soldiers who died without family. Visitors often report hearing footsteps behind them, only to turn and find no one there. Some claim to see pale figures standing near the graves, watching silently before fading into the earth. Others feel a light tug on their clothing, as if someone unseen is trying to get their attention. Cameras sometimes malfunction, and cold spots appear suddenly in the middle of open space. Another frightening tale involves the spirits of British soldiers from the Revolutionary era. People walking across the common at dusk have reported seeing men in old red military coats marching across the grass. They never make a sound and vanish the moment someone tries to get closer. Some late-night visitors say they have heard the sound of drums in the distance, beating slow and steady, even though there is no parade or event happening. There are also reports of a woman in white who wanders near the park's paths. Those who see her describe her as sad, quiet, and confused, as if she is searching for someone she lost long ago. She disappears when approached, leaving behind a sudden cold breeze. Dog walkers claim their pets refuse to enter certain parts of the park, growling at empty air or pulling their owners in another direction. One of the eeriest experiences happens near the frog pond, where people say they sometimes hear children laughing or running, even late at night when the area is deserted. Some visitors have seen small figures darting between the trees, but when they look again, nothing is there. With so many layers of history, Boston Common feels alive with restless spirits, making it one of the most haunted and emotionally heavy places in Massachusetts. Number 6. Concord's Colonial Inn is one of the oldest and most haunted inns in Massachusetts, and many visitors say its walls carry the weight of centuries of history and restless spirits. Built in the 1700s, the inn has hosted travelers, soldiers, and townspeople over generations, and some of those who stayed never truly left. Guests often report strange experiences in their rooms, from sudden chills to objects moving without explanation. The hallways are quiet, but many people feel as though unseen eyes are watching them as they walk through. Shadows flicker in corners, and soft whispers can be heard at night, even when no one else is around. The inn has a heavy, unsettling atmosphere that makes visitors feel as though the past is very close. One of the most famous stories comes from the second floor, where guests report seeing a figure of a man dressed in old-fashioned clothing standing at the end of the hallway. He disappears whenever someone approaches, leaving only a feeling of dread behind. Some say he was a traveler who died at the inn long ago and is now trapped there, silently wandering the halls. Lights often flicker in empty rooms, doors open and close on their own, and some guests have even woken to find the covers pulled off their beds as if someone invisible had been lying there. Room 13 is particularly known for its strange activity. Visitors staying there have reported hearing faint footsteps pacing back and forth, even when no one else is in the room. Some claim to have felt a sudden tap on the shoulder or sense a presence standing silently beside them. The temperature drops sharply in the middle of summer, and mirrors sometimes reflect shadows that are not visible to the naked eye. Guests often leave this room early, shaken and unable to sleep through the night. The inn's dining area and cellar are also haunted. Staff and visitors alike have reported hearing voices and laughter, but when they investigate, no one is there. Cold spots appear suddenly, and objects sometimes fall from shelves for no reason. Some believe the spirits are former residents or travelers who had unfinished business. With its long history and countless unexplained events, Concord's Colonial Inn continues to draw ghost hunters, curious travelers, and anyone eager to experience the chilling presence that makes it one of the most haunted places in Massachusetts. Number 7. Freetown-Fall River State Forest in Massachusetts is considered one of the most haunted places in the state, known for its dark woods, quiet trails, and countless eerie stories. The forest covers thousands of acres, filled with dense trees, winding paths, and old abandoned areas that seem to whisper secrets from the past. Visitors often report a feeling of being watched, even in the middle of the day, and many say the air suddenly turns cold with no wind. Strange shadows are seen moving between the trees, and some hikers hear footsteps or voices where no one else is present. The forest has a reputation for unexplained occurrences that leave even experienced outdoorsmen feeling uneasy. One of the most famous legends involves a ghostly figure known as the White Lady, who is said to appear near the old cemetery inside the forest. She is described as wearing a long, flowing white dress, wandering silently among the graves and the surrounding woods. People claim to see her at dusk, standing between the trees, staring toward the trails, and then disappearing as quickly as she appeared. Locals believe she may be the spirit of a woman who died tragically in the area long ago, and her restless presence is said to haunt anyone who ventures too close after dark. Another terrifying story comes from the old abandoned quarry within the forest. Visitors often report hearing screams echoing through the cliffs, even when they are alone. Some say they have seen shadowy figures climbing the rocks or walking along the edges of the quarry, vanishing when approached. Hikers have also described sudden disorientation, as if the forest changes around them, making familiar paths appear strange and endless. Cold spots, unexplained noises, and the feeling of being touched by invisible hands are common experiences in this part of the forest. The forest's more isolated trails are also known for paranormal activity. Many hikers have reported seeing glowing orbs floating between the trees, hearing whispers calling their names, or spotting figures that vanish when looked at directly. Some claim to smell old smoke or decay, even when there is no fire or rotten material nearby. Whether these spirits are connected to tragic deaths, lost travelers, or ancient Native American legends, the forest remains a place of fear and mystery. Freetown-Fall River State Forest continues to attract ghost hunters and curious visitors, making it one of the most haunted and chilling locations in Massachusetts. Number 8. Dogtown in Gloucester is one of the most haunted and mysterious places in Massachusetts. Once a thriving settlement, it was abandoned in the early 19th century, leaving behind empty homes, old stone foundations, and twisted paths through the forest. Today, Dogtown is a sprawling area of woods, boulders, and narrow trails, but the silence here feels heavy and unnatural. Many visitors say that the forest seems alive, with shadows moving just beyond sight and sudden cold spots that appear for no reason. People often report feeling as though unseen eyes are watching them, and the air is filled with a strange, oppressive energy that makes even daytime hikes feel eerie. One of the most famous legends is the ghost of a woman who wanders near the boulder fields. She is said to appear in a long, dark dress, silently moving among the rocks. Hikers have reported seeing her standing in the middle of a path, staring at them before vanishing. Some believe she is a spirit from the town's abandoned days, cursed to wander Dogtown forever. Others have claimed to hear her crying, calling out the names of lost children, or begging for help in the quiet of the forest. Another terrifying story comes from the many boulder formations scattered throughout Dogtown. Visitors often hear footsteps crunching on the leaves or rocks around them, but when they turn to look, no one is there. Some hikers have experienced sudden dizziness or the feeling of being pushed or grabbed by invisible hands. At night, strange lights are sometimes seen flickering among the trees or moving between the rocks. People say these are the spirits of former settlers or Native Americans who once lived on the land, still restless and protective of their territory. Dogtown also has a reputation for eerie animal sightings. Many report seeing ghostly dogs that appear briefly on the trails before disappearing, growling or barking at nothing. Others hear unexplainable howls echoing through the forest at night, even when no animals are nearby. The abandoned homes and old cellar holes add to the sense of unease, as shadows sometimes appear inside as though someone is still living there. With its abandoned ruins, strange lights, ghostly figures, and chilling legends, Dogtown remains one of the most haunted and unsettling places in Massachusetts. Visitors often leave shaken, feeling as if they have stepped into a world where the past never truly left and restless spirits continue to roam.